He's excited to cast an MNM game, yada yada, memes, yada yada, MNM Jamada. But yeah, I think all in all, definitely curious one for MNM. I think we'll see how exactly they want to navigate this one. I'm not sure how sold I am on it personally, but I think Vanir, with their draft, a little more rounded. So we'll have to see how they want to navigate.
Well, that was exactly what Trouble was saying on the desk just before they threw it to us,
exactly.
was saying there's a lot of AP in this MNM draft.
Right.
They've got the Jhin, so that's some AD, but how are they going to be able to get that Jhin online, and are Vanir just going to be able to build past it? We're going to find out as we made our way onto the Rift. MNM, of course, on the blue side, Vanir on the red. Differing scorelines after the first day of play. But Jamada, tell me, with your wisdom, A, where are we going to be following? Where do we want to be seeing? And B, are we going to get one of the new dragons in this first game now that Hit Rate's gone?
Now that Hit Rate's gone, maybe. I mean, we have Mountain, so it's a good start.
That's good. Positive.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Give it maybe 6 or 7 minutes for a team to take a dragon here. But yeah, my views kind of align with Trouble on this one. I feel like if Vanir go and punish the bottom side, they set Mishigu behind, MNM's draft is really AP heavy. And I think from the Vanir point of view, it's very, very easy to itemize a lot of armor into your kit. And I think what's even scarier is Vanir's setup on the bottom side is really good. You've got Thresh, you've got Ash Arrow once you hit that level 6 mark. Viego has a whole bunch of damage pre-6, and of course gets access to even more at level 6. And to me, MNM just don't really have too much setup across the board, at least pre-6 as well. So I feel like Kana's going to have a bit of a job on his hands. I feel like he's going to probably have to just farm it out to 6 here and then try and find some impact when and where he can, assuming Vanir actually give him the opportunity to do so.
So the question there is, are MNM going to have to try and play around this bot side themselves, either just to protect it or to try and get stuff going? Because the Ash and the Thresh, it's not that easy to gank them even, is it?
Yeah, it's not easy to gank, and also I just feel like they lose the 3v3 outright. So it's certainly a tough one to talk about positively for MNM. I feel like maybe you try and play through this mid 2v2. Corki obviously takes a little while to scale. Vex, a very, very powerful champion with very high bases. So it can be fairly easy to skirmish around that mid lane, I suppose. That's maybe MNM's only opening for me in the early stages of this game.
It'll be fascinating to see if Kana can do so, because back in the day, back in spring 2021, when I last watched Kana frequently after the Baltics, it was really about the mid-jungle synergy, and Kana was a big part in that success of that team that went to European Masters play-ins but didn't get into the main stage. So we'll have to see if he can join up with Roy Cannon, who had a pretty decent game yesterday, even in that loss, and if they can get something going around there and try to snowball in a different avenue. We're also seeing San set top lane. Actually a bit of an engage, potentially. Quicksilver looking, potentially for the Death Sentence. Flash from Dr. Chaos. Noodle down here as well. So it was the first play being made by Vanir. They're looking to chase on, but a heal should see them out. Dr. Chaos actually gonna get stunned up. A lot of trouble. Cut down first blood. Noodle, as Kana too slow to respond.
Yeah, and this is the thing I was worrying about for MNM from the get-go. There's just so much setup for Vanir, and I mean, even though the Flay goes awry, it actually goes away from tower. We'll have to hold this point.
Noodle needs to be a little bit careful. Half health rooted up, but he's going to go invisible, and now Kana being split up from the rest of the team. Quicksilver on the other side, getting the Flay down. Mishigu going to have to flash away as Royal Cannon moves down. No kills this time around.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still a massive loss for MNM now. Also, Mishigu has no flash, so can still be a pretty easy victim. Still has the cleanse, right? So you can still cleanse away the hook, you can cleanse away the Viego stun, but if you get clipped by one CC, you're still likely to get clipped by the other in most cases without that flash. So MNM now going to have to play this bot lane even more cautiously than they probably would have had to anyway. But Vanir, they get first blood. I believe they did get that Scuttle Crab as well. Or maybe it was actually Kana that managed to get up there. I can't quite see as
it was Kana,
topside trades. I wouldn't necessarily call this wet noodle fighting when you've got Set on one side, but of course Sion still actually has pretty nice trade potential when you do when you're able to actually get that Decimating Smash charged up.
For sure, and they did say Set is very, very nice into tanks. It makes it pretty painful to team fight with a tank on your team. But in those early stages, pre-6, it's not as scary. And Sion is known for being quite a strong, one of those surprising damage dealers. Kana needs to be a little careful. Nil has spotted them out, but doesn't want to go in. There's not that much support, and Sion in top lane is just going to make sure that everything is peachy keen in the jungle. But it has been a decent start for Vanir, but MNM are staying pretty much on par in terms of gold, so down but not necessarily feeling it too much just yet.
Yeah, not 5 minutes in. Still have to wait a little bit longer to start to talk about any plans of a comeback just yet. I mean, I think it kind of mirrors for both of these teams their performances yesterday. MNM, they fell behind a little bit early on, and for Vanir, definitely gained a bit of an early lead. A lot of proactivity coming out from Noodle on the bottom side as well. Pleasantly surprised to see Vanir's performance in the early game, at least. Of course, it was that mid game that was the big thorn in their side. SNG, I don't know, something just came online for them, and they realized, hey guys, we can actually team fight into this comp that Vanir are running. We'll see if Vanir run into a similar kind of issue. The team fighting definitely prominent for MNM, but talk about that later on in the game. Another attempted gank here.
Ultimate comes on. Oh, a bit of damage coming on through means that nothing is going to happen. Canada is a bit quicker on the mark this time around, and everyone's just going to part ways. 3v3 in the bot side, but nothing's going to come of it.
Yeah, but that's cleanse gone for Bishku now. So if MNM do step up a little bit too far forward and Vanir decide to actually commit to a gank, that should just be a secured kill with all of the CC and damage. But right now it's MNM with all the priority coming out of the mid lane. Vex, definitely a champion that can secure easy priority in a lot of matchups. Corki definitely one of them. So this will be an early Dragon startup. Noodle's here, but it would be pretty much suicide. You'd be trading 1-for-1 for this Dragon. Doesn't look like willing to do that. And that'll be the first Dragon secured for MNM the Mountain. And it's an Infernal second spawn. So
okay,
it's a 50-50 split. for new Dragons and old. Just give it to us. One game. That's all I'm asking for. We didn't get it all on Monday. No new Dragon or Rift shenanigans, but I need to see it in a comp game, man. Or at least here in the NLC, I need to see it.
I mean, this is the thing. This is the problem that Hipparade had yesterday. I spoke about this in European Masters. Everyone knows that the observers decide what Dragons are on the Rift each game. Like, it's a secret. It's observing secret. So observers, thanks. Give us one of the new Dragons, appreciate you. But it was interesting to see Babista actually walking on down. He's getting punched in the back of the head right now, but should be okay as Scion and will be able to just wander off. But had moved completely down to the mid lane, because of course with those teleport changes, the top laners couldn't get involved, teleports weren't up anyway. But the Scion just being like, yeah, we need to commit to this objective. I'm going to move down and help, and now she's going to commit to a fight in the top lane. Nilla needs to be a little bit careful, taking a decent amount of damage. Is going to be able to get that big old shield that's going to punch through, but does get knocked up. Is there a dive in the offing? Nil still has ultimate. Kana not going to be able to get him with the flash, and Set gets away on a sliver of health. Ooh, okay,
yeah, I mean, Kana almost drops as well. That's why you pop your potions regardless of how much HP you have during a fight, guys. Case study and point right there. Otherwise, Kana definitely would have dropped. But yeah, nice attempted gank. Ultimate from the Scion just goes a little bit wide, or rather Nile actually just sidesteps it. So able to get away by blowing his flash. Still has the ultimate, so still has that ability to trade. And yeah, like you said, Scion walking down. Scion, one of the champions I expect to see a little bit more, I think, in this meta. From time to time, I think some of those semi-global tops will definitely be useful. Of course, you know, there's a lot of hype around the teleport not being there, so, you know, more GP, more Shen potentially. But yeah, you know, keep your eyes out for champions like Scion, like Kled as well. These champions that can kind of get around the map quite quickly once they actually have access to their armor as well. So yeah, you will definitely see a lot more roaming from the top side. I do expect that around these neutrals from time to time. But Vanir, speaking of neutrals, we'll pick up this Herald pretty much for free, and Zahira also has the package, so that's 60 seconds where MNM effectively shouldn't be able to contest really anywhere on the map, as Arrow actually connects.
Really nice arrow from downtown, and Zahira comes on through with the package. Everything blown, kill in the mid lane. Simple as that. Oh, we're actually gonna go for more. Cannon's caught out here by the Viego. Damage coming on through. It's Noodle picking up the second of the fight. Vanir running rampant through the enemy jungle. Pick up two.
Yeah, absolute slaughter from the mid lane into the jungle there. And now, again, complete freedom. You've got the mid and the jungle removed from the map. Corki can push the mid lane, get some plates off that mid lane tower, and now as the bottom side of MNM, you just cannot contest. It's a 3-man, potentially 4-man if Zahira decides to move down, but they're going to, you know, keep their foot off the gas for now. The wave wasn't quite there in the bottom side to push that Herald and drop that there. But I mean, look at this arrow all the way from the Dragon Pit there. Lands on Royal Cannon, no cleanse, has the teleport. Doesn't see it coming, can't react to the flash, and then as soon as Noodle has that form, flashes over, gets that ultimate down as well, and Kana just has nowhere to run, unfortunately. Even with the flash, just can't get away.
Kevo, been eating the same cereal, has had his Weetabix like he had yesterday, because Kevo had such an exceptional game yesterday, and I know Vanir, haha, mid-game wear, basically, from yesterday, but Kevo and Zahira both had exceptional performances, and now we're moving into the top side. Nil's going to have an exceptional performance, dodges out from the ultimate, but it's 2v1 under tower. What's Set got? He's got the ult, but he's cut down by the Lumberjack before he can even get off the ground.
Yeah, Nile just a little bit too greedy with some of his skills there. Still had the W in his back pocket, I think. And unfortunately, cast the ult a little bit too low HP. Gets autoed out of the air. Definitely could have made a little more work for MNM there, but MNM do what they have to do. They get that dive off. And will be Nile missing a couple of minions. Oh no. Oh boy. All right. Poor Kana. Quickstep steals away that Skull Crab.
You hate to see it, you really do.
Yeah, you're still
but
stunned.
I mean, supports need farm too. It's important to get fresh a couple of those gold pouches, and it's gonna be able to go back and grab myself a huge item, I'm sure. But we are hitting the 10-minute mark. There hasn't been too much aggression in terms of pushing onto towers. You've seen a bit of fighting, which is what we love to see. But in terms of games that we saw yesterday, this one has had some action, but hasn't been as action-packed as we've seen.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think when you're talking about, you know, the first game of the day, for example, which actually was Vanir SMG, right? Complete bloodbath from start to finish. There was no breaks at all. But I mean, we started to see this kind of style of game come out towards the end of the day yesterday, so I'm not too surprised. I feel like MNM, you know, as a team, it's still, you know, a little bit too early in the season to judge what kind of team they will be, but drafted very much a stationary draft where, you know, you're weighing IM and a half at least to start contesting things. Don't think it's necessarily the same case here, but definitely a lot of these champions, you know, they want to spike on that first time at the very least. And like that first Dragon Ball Beast, he's moved down into the mid lane, ready to contest for this Dragon. Vanir, they still have that Herald. It's like they're trying to angle to maybe put it down in mid lane for some pressure because they know that MNM have committed all their numbers. Nile doesn't have teleport, he's not moving down, so two options for Vanir. Give up this Dragon, place it in mid lane, or walk all the way to the top side, which it looks like Noodle will be doing to drop that there, and I believe Royal Cannon's probably gonna go enough.
Yeah, there it is! It's simple as that. You just ask the observers. Royal Cannon could be getting dove here, though. Noodle, Rift Herald, and Nilly on the top side. The Arcane Arrow will go wide, but the damage coming through. Actually, Vex is pretty healthy. Still going to get hit. Stuck between a rock and a hard place is going to go down. Noodle tags up one more shot, but will survive. And first tower may well follow.
Yeah, that should be first tower here. Dive on the top side goes well. Royal Cannon, but now we've got a re-engage from...
Flash race from Kevo, and on the bot side, actually, Dr. Chaos is in a lot of trouble. He gets caught by the Devs and goes down. Noodle on the other side will also fall, as Lily gets a big shield this time around, punches through one, as the Beast, the last one standing, will go zombie when he falls. But will he be able to get Lily before that happens? Even after that happens, because Set is in full retreat mode, and everyone else from Vanir is pretty high health, so big win for the red side team, as they get the objective and the kills.
Yeah, Vanir, they pick up all those plates on the top side. I think they can still stay there for the tower if they want it as well. I think Kevo's going to cash in on this one. So that's a lot of gold going into his back pocket. 610, there you go, first tower of the game. And Vanir get everything they want from this play. They get the Herald down, they get the dive onto the Vex here, which, I mean, I'm not sure there's really much more Royal Cannon can ask for here. Herald, I guess it doesn't really do much. It does kind of knock him in the direction maybe he wasn't intending to go, but I feel like he was always going to drop to that play. And then V-Start with the ultimate forces Kevo to flash, but unfortunately now, MNM are just too split. You can see on the bottom side, Dr. Chaos, no man's land practically, and I mean, Kana, yeah, he's here, but he's only really hitting Nile. It's not a multiple man Moonfall. And unfortunately, it's just kind of like walking in one by one into these small individual fights inside of this massive team fight in general, and as highlighted by the Observer, Mishiku's just still bot, so realistically, MNM were never going to win this one out.
Zero now has the package. We're going to be getting up to the 14-minute mark very soon, where plates fall off and towers start falling. The question here is, Vanir, they put themselves in a very comfortable position right now, and they're going in for another fight in the mid lane, just using the package. Dr. Chaos taking a decent amount of damage, but Zero's going to have to shift away with damage coming out from Jin. Michigu holding that mid lane. With tower plates falling off and a healthy gold lead, Vanir now need to decide what they're going to be doing towards the mid game and hopefully get an improved one over the one in last game, because things look good for them against Singularity, and we saw how that game eventually had to be ended.
Yeah, we'll see how clinical they'll be in comparison to yesterday. But V-Start doing a little bit of Babba's impression. Should he get the tower? I think he can. No, he's not getting the tower.
Decent amount of damage going down.
Actually, he's got enough HP. Never mind. Yeah,
okay.
Kevo just kind of let Bovista get that tower for free there. Didn't want to walk up and just order the Scion zombie. So tower goes over. Suppose worth for Bovista, I guess. And now MNM actually starting up this Herald because Kevo's still on the bottom side. No arrow available. They do have numbers advantage, and it's going to take Vanir a while to actually mount up any kind of contest right here. We'll see if they still want to go in. HP bars getting chunked out a little bit. I think it's just a bit of a fight after, or just kind of give up situation.
Steals it away, and now the fighter gets away with the Dark Passage as well. There's no follow-up, there's no re-engage. Quickstep flashes on through to get the eyes in the back of the pit, but now they look like they might want to turn around. Vanir escort him away. The perfect crime as Quickstep drops it mid.
Oh god, Noodle with the daylight robbery. The eyes turned towards Vanir just because MNM are actually aggroing the Herald upwards, and it opens at a perfect time for him to just flash in, auto plus smite and execute. Very unfortunate take for MNM, but I mean Noodle opportunistically takes it with open hands, and that's going to be Herald dropped immediately in the mid lane. And MNM, they start the play, they still lose out, and they're falling further and further behind in gold, around 2,500 gold behind now. Gonna have to put in some serious work to get back in. They only really have these two dragons going for them, but the issue is Vanir, they're so far ahead that this dragon contest in a minute's time might be just a bit of a Herculean task to actually ask for.
It could be a way back in for MNM if they can sneak away a couple more dragons, and we could see a fight coming in mid as Noodle gets a stun down. It's only onto the Beast on the side, who is a big lump of meat as they get the first kill of the fight. Noodle is felled as Kevo doesn't want to chase all alone. So here and Quickstep do turn up, but so do members of MNM. It's just going to be one kill over. The death sentence goes wide, so the fight doesn't continue.
Noodle finally caught for his crime in the river, just in front of the mid tier one there. A little bit over eager, I believe, just to really just be in the mid lane, to be honest with you. I feel like if that mid lane tier one goes down, it's just the price of resetting after that Herald. But now, I mean, MNM, because of it, they get complete control of this river. And Noodle, he's only going to be respawning now with 8 seconds left on this dragon timer. I feel like MNM, they just burst it down right here. There's not really too much threat on them at all. We will see this teleport come in from Nile, but I mean, again, we've got teleport, you know, immediately here from Bavista. It's still a 5v4 for now. It looks like MNM, they actually want to take the fight in mid lane instead.
They find Kevo, he goes super low and actually will be felled. Quickstep trying to get away, as is Nilla, as the rest of the Vanir team show up on the sideline, but it's a 5v4 fight as Noodle looking to cut down Sire. Won't be able to do so because he's just too tanky. And MNM grab a pick. They're going to move back down the river towards the dragon. A couple of health bars are pretty low, and they get Death Sentence down onto the Sire once again. To poke coming on through, but he's really not the target you want to be focusing in these fights. And while the gold lead looks good for Vanir, they're not looking too hot in the scraps around this third objective just yet, as MNM make their way downriver once again.
Make their way downriver. Lille getting caught out here. A lot of CC. Has the ultimate though.
Middle, and actually getting a decent amount of damage down to Hero on the side. Quickstep picks up the kill onto Sar, but he's going to be back in the fight before too long. Noodle diving on through, trying to get some health back as now Vanir have to retreat up out of the wetness. And Mishigu, he's out and around the back. They do want to contest Vanir. Have members coming back. Kevo, the arrow goes wide. And Vanir are going to try and take down this dragon as much as possible. Kana gets the assassination. Will be able to get away, stumbling away from the Vanir side. As Roy Cannon moving forward on the Vex, trying to get some poke down, trying to scare Vanir away mechanically or mentally. As Kevo looks to get the poke, takes a decent chunk from Karma. And this dragon, it's still standing. It still doesn't want to go down just yet. It has been propped again. MNM this time around, Kevo and Noodle on the side. He's not going to be able to steal it through unless something goes really, really wrong, or they can take Kana down. So Hera has the package though. He's going to move forward, looking for Mishigu on the back. We'll be able to find him, but can't find the last damage needed. Ace taken down, shut down by Diana. MNM, they're being moved down into bot lane. The health bars are not there for Vanir to continue defending this objective. Babista moving forward, full health bar. Nil there too, though, as Quickstep will walk through. People respawning. This fight has been going on so long, but finally the dragon will be felled. It's not even a smite that takes it this time around, but it's MNM who will be able to grab it. Nil puts up the shield and tries to stay alive as well.
What is happening?
Reset coming through from Noodle, dodging away from Babista, but he's still got so much health. He's going to flash away from the death sentence, but Noodle follows through, still in the form of Dana, gets the ultimate down and will grab the double. MNM set themselves up for soul point, but Vanir do grab some scraps.
I'm dumbfounded. This is like a 3-minute long fight where people died, respawned, came back to the river. That was absolutely crazy. I mean, MNM, they managed to win out and get the dragon eventually, but I would say at what cost? I feel like not too much at the end of the day. We'll have to take account of it after the replay. As, yeah, Corki, a little bit too far deep. Feels like he can execute Mishigu. Unfortunately, Hero doesn't quite have the lethal damage to do so. Dodged out by the Jin. And then, yeah, I mean, MNM feel like after they get the dragon, they can just take the fight. But at the end of the day, you've got what you came for, right? You don't have to buy off any more than what you've already taken here. I feel like they do just kind of donate over 2 free kills for little to no reason. But it does put them 4 minutes away from what is definitely the most broken Dragon Soul in the game at the moment. And no less, we get a Chemtech Dragon with a Scion in the game. So a lot of zombie forms will be occurring if MNM are able to pick that Dragon up. Even with that, 4,000 gold lead that Vanir have, you're still going to effectively have to deal with up to 10 champions technically in a team fight because of those zombie forms.
Now, while I've got a tiny bit of downtime, I'm scared that the team is going to start fighting again as they both move mid. But this is the first time that we've actually seen a Chemtech Dragon this season. So can you talk a little bit about just a brief overview of what that does?
Yeah, so obviously the Rift itself turns into Okay, you never know with these guys. Yeah, so Rift itself. Are they posturing? I can't tell. I want to talk about it.
They are. The hook's coming on through. The box, the dunk back, and Vanir start the fight once again. Dodge Chaos going very, very low. So here in the background, looking for the assassination. Will be able to find it this time around, and actually might look for two. Will find two. Kana in the middle gets the ultimate off, but Will forward. Beast are there as well, and it is a rout. Vanir take down 4. They only lose 1, and Scion has nothing to say. Baron on the cards. Vanir take it all.
Yeah, I mean, we was talking about if they can make it to that point, MNM, where that dragon is up and they can maybe get the soul. Maybe this gold lead won't matter for Vanir, but they used the gold lead right here. They just kind of slapped them with their wallets a little bit. It wasn't the best position fight for MNM either. And Vanir just walked through these guys with little to no effort. Sahira, the only one losing his life, but I mean, I'd call it certainly worth on his part. And that's going to be a Baron for Vanir. Just because of the objective spawn times now, Vanir, they're going to have the Baron stats to work with once this soul dragon actually spawns up. We get the replay of it here. And, we're trying to talk about the Chemtech Dragon, just a whole bunch of posturing, and it's just this ult, really, from Nile off of Bobista. And that's the thing about playing the soul tank against something like a set. You always have to watch your positioning for something like this, because the set is just given a free train ride in to effectively wreck the entirety of MNM here. And unfortunately, there's just not much response from MNM. There's not really anything they can do in that kind of situation where their tank's just thrown on top of them for all this insane damage.
And of course, all the follow-up was just insane. Sahira this time around does manage to get those assassinations. We saw it in the fight around the third dragon. Wasn't able to get those last auto attacks in, which really did make things difficult for Vanir. This time around makes things very, very easy for them. And now they've got the Baron buff. They're going to be able to push down either any lane they want. Really looking at mid right now. The Beaster will take top lane to get a quick return on investment. But Vanir, how much do you expect them to take with this objective?
I mean, they've got so much to take. You've got the mid-tier one that just went down. You've got this bot tier one that's about to go down too. And even if they don't necessarily push onto these tier 2 towers, which I still expect them to chip away at some of the health bars here, the important thing is that they deny the soul point, or the soul dragon rather, for MNM. And they start to get the dragon stacking in their own right. But denial is the main important thing for B-Star. Trying to find some kind of drift. You can see MNM, they really wanted to try and find the pick on this bottom side on Noodle, on Sahira. If they can find it, I mean, that makes this dragon fight a lot easier to deal with, specifically if they find Noodle. It's effectively a freebie, though Sahira, I believe, should have package coming up relatively soon. So that's still going to be something MNM are going to have to deal with on this dragon take, as there you go, Sahira goes back to base. I believe just picked up that package. It's just such an irritating thing to have to deal with when you play against the Corki and MNM. With these are mobile champions, right? They're going to have to put up with this diving madman that is Sahira right now.
MNM 10 seconds away from fighting for Soul. Of course, it's a long way for Vanir to get to that point, but they're going to want to try and deny it as long as possible. A little bit of damage onto the Beaster, but vision just being cleared out. MNM want to be as safe moving towards that objective as they possibly can. Teleport actually up towards the top side is going to be the option, as Vex wants to grab some objectives rather than contesting this one. Of course, Vanir grabbing one dragon isn't going to be the worst thing in the world, and the trade could be pretty nice as Lille goes to contest.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's a respectable decision by MNM. I think they recognize the position that they're in. If they contest this dragon, they lose. They'll lose the dragon, but they'll lose the fight, and with the Baron buff still wrapped on Vanir, you'd expect them to lose a lot more. I mean, hell, even at 25 minutes, you could maybe lose the game if you get clean aced, if the waves are in the right place. So don't take the risk. Go and at least try and trade some resources somewhere, and you just make it back to base. Let the map sort of reset a little bit now that Vanir's Baron buff has dropped off, and you see what you can find across the map. You try and look for these picks. I think for MNM, you've got these sort of two semi-globals inside of the Vexel, inside of the Scion ult. You don't have teleport right now for Royal Cannon, but just try and make something happen where you know you're going to have numbers. Because I feel like if you sit here any longer, it just feels like Sahira is starting to scale really, really well. There's not really a crazy amount of backline access. The bounties, though, the objective bounties are online, so they will get a lot more gold back as Arrow. We're going to get a fight here.
Oh, the Arrow comes in. They're going to be able to get it onto Canna. Decent amount of damage going. Gold and the dunk back on Babista as now the fight will kick off in earnest. Members of MNM's backline have already gone low. Noodle gets the first kill of the engagement as the rest of MNM run to the win. They're moving back towards their base. Can they get a stun down? Flash away from Dr. Chaos means they won't be able to. But now Vanir 5v4 pushing down, trying to crack open the base.
Yeah, they should be able to. With all the siege and power, there's not really much wave clear on MNM's side, and you can see immediately. Posture from MNM, they just know. They retreat, they recede. They know if they try and defend that tower, they will just get dove, even with not too many ultimates up, really. It's just the box available for Vanir. I beg your pardon. They recognize they are in no position to defend that dive. So, lose the inhibitor, Vanir gain that, and now that'll be constant mid lane pressure for the next 5 minutes or so. And they're just taking some jungle camps, looking like they're just going to go for a reset, and then they get to pick what side they want to open up onto. Fight starts in the mid lane from the Arrow, from downtown, from Kebo yet again. Finds Kana, and another beautiful ultimate from Set. Doesn't necessarily actually deal too much damage, because a lot of the backline from MNM has walked so far back already, but just being able to gain access to begin the rundown of multiple MNM members is enough here. And Vanir, back another Ash Arrow, find another successful fight.
They do so a minute before Baron spawns again, and with the base being open, that's a much more enticing prospect. 2.5 minutes until we see the dragon coming up as well. But of course, MNM, if they can grab this dragon soul, they could find their way back in just through the strength of this soul. Jamada, quickly, 20 seconds. What does it do? Please, just
it gives you more attack speed based on your missing HP, and then you obviously... I'm sorry. Yeah, so each dragon, more attack speed the lower you are in the health department, and then, of course, the soul is the main talking point of the dragon, where you get resurrected if you have the soul for, I believe the timer for now is 4 seconds, and then you start to bleed out, or it might just be 4 seconds flat. Admittedly, I don't have a lot of experience versus the soul or seeing it, because after Monday it just didn't show up. My preseason game time was pretty limited, so it is a powerful soul nonetheless, as you can imagine. Being able to effectively get a free Scion passive whilst casting all of your regular abilities is a very powerful tool compared to the rest of the souls. So if MNM do get it, again, it can negate a fair amount of the gold difference here, just simply because it's effectively extra HP bars that Vanir have to deal with, and zoning tools that Vanir, you have to deal with. And as the zombie form, you don't really care about giving your life up because you're already dead. You're there to deal more damage.
So there's no safety. You just kind of bundle in, do everything you can, trying to get as much down as possible as the top tower falls. And we actually saw, while you were explaining that, Sahira deftly moving away from Kana, who used ultimate and a couple of other resources to not do any damage to the Corki, who was already out of range. But this Baron should go down very, very quickly. MNM moving towards him. I don't think there's any contest on the table here.
I mean, it looks like they're walking towards it because they know, like, if they lose the Baron, they're going to lose another dragon. It's more slow bleed out. But it's just a little bit too late, and now Babista in a position where, yeah, he's just going to get picked off.
Although he's pretty tanky, he's going to look for the ultimate. Won't land it onto anyone, though, but does bring up the fight. Royal Cannon in the middle, gets the kill onto Quicksilver, but should fall immediately. Afterwards, will go down to the set. Ultimate Cannon being chased up towards the ramp. Will fall as Babista gets taken out of zombie form. Dr. Chaos and Mishku, only 2 survivors. Jin's already gone, but Karma can't say the same. Is running for the hills, but could well get cut down by Noodle. He decides to cool off the assault as 4 members of Vanir move towards the Nexus.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a head scratcher from MNM's point of view. Why contest? You know you can't really win the fight. There was no Diana ultimate available. Mishigu getting run down here by Sahira, who is more than scaled, removed from Summoner's Rift, and that'll be Vanir picking up a 2-0 week here against MNM. And actually, funny thing, I forgot to mention it. I wasn't really able to earlier on. Vanir qualified into the NLC off of beating MNM, I believe. And Vanir here